Now let me tell you, my 43 years as a Texan, I never expected to find myself at a Diwali festival. But here I was, standing amidst a sea of lights, colors, and music, celebrating a festival that I'd only heard of in passing or my limited experience in India. Diwali, the Festival of Lights. It's one of the most important holidays in Indian culture. And it's celebrated around the world by millions, and this year, for the first time, I'm going to take part in it here in my hometown of San Antonio, even though they've been having a festival here for 16 years. Now, growing up in Texas, you don't typically learn much about holidays like Diwali. We have our own big, colorful celebrations here, like Fiesta in San Antonio. That comes to mind. It's a citywide celebration that's all about community, culture, tradition. Now, we've also got Cinco de Mayo, which celebrates with pride the Texas history with Mexico, honoring our Mexican heritage. But Diwali, that's something different. It's something that I've only recently come to appreciate. Despite the fact that, as I discovered, San Antonio has been hosting this festival, as I say, for 16 years. 16 years! Yet somehow, it was never really on my radar as a Texan. Now, Diwali isn't the kind of event that you can just overlook. It's a festival, as probably a lot of you know, that fills the night with light and color, with people in traditional Indian attire, vibrant stalls of food, lively music, and a sense of community that's really hard to ignore. Now, I'll admit I don't fully understand the details and the customs, but I can see, even with an outsider's eye, that Diwali is more than just about lights and celebrations. It's a festival with a message, and one that resonates deeply across cultures. And from what I've gathered, Diwali is about the triumph of light over darkness, of good and evil, of knowledge over ignorance. It's a celebration of hope and the possibility of a brighter tomorrow. And it's something that transcends any one culture or country. Now, who couldn't get behind that? In a place where we're more divided than ever, why not celebrate some light? Why not celebrate the triumph of good over evil? Now, Texas has always been a place that values its very own unique traditions and identity. Oftentimes they're very exciting. Most of the time they're just very run-of-the-mill kind of things. We're a state where people take pride in their roots and their history and what makes us Texan. But Texas is also changing. And I see that more clearly now than ever, now that I've come back here to my home. When I was growing up, our multicultural celebrations were by large limited to just local traditions like Peanut Festival or Strawberry Festival or Bluebonnet Festival, whatever. And they've been here for generations, and they were pretty much the same thing year after year. Only the faces sometimes would change. Over time, though, Texas has quietly and steadily evolved into something more open, more inclusive, more diverse than I could ever have imagined. Today, Texas is home to people from around the world. People bring their own customs and their own traditions and their own festivals with them. They don't just adapt to Texas, they add to it. And Diwali here in San Antonio is a perfect example of that. It's like a city that has embraced this festival with open arms, welcoming something that is completely new. Something many of us don't fully understand, yet we recognize its beauty and its spirit. We're seeing that we don't need to fully grasp every nuance to appreciate it, to take part in it, and to feel connected to the joy that it brings. Now, Texas has always been home to small pockets of diverse cultures, but they often stayed under the radar. Don't get me wrong, Texas is a great state, but Texas has its problems, and sometimes being a little prejudiced is one of them. Being a little ignorant is one of them. But in the past, someone like me might not have heard of much about something called Diwali, or about other traditions that didn't have roots right here in Texas. And to be honest, many of us could probably only point out India on a map if we were really focused. For years, Texas felt like a place that was somewhat removed from the rest of the world and focused on its own traditions and its own celebrations. But now, there's an undeniable shift, and that shift is good. The world is, in a sense, getting smaller. With each year, we become more aware of each other, more connected, and at least in my experience, more willing to learn. I work with people from all over the world, all different cultures. I embrace what they embrace because I recognize that we are one. Now, I generally don't think like most Texans, but when I see Texans of all backgrounds around here standing shoulder to shoulder with our Indian community to celebrate this beautiful festival of Diwali, it feels like we're moving forward. We're leaning in to appreciate each other's cultures in ways that feel meaningful. We might not understand it all, but we're here, eager to share in this light of Diwali. Diwali is a reminder of how much there is to celebrate in this world and how much we still have to learn from each other. The core of Diwali, light over darkness, hope over despair, unity over division. This is something that every single one of us can embrace. It reminds us that joy, beauty, and resilience are universal values, not limited to borders, cultures, or backgrounds. And for a state that once felt like it was miles removed from places like India, it feels fitting somehow that we ourselves are standing together under these same lights, participating in something that brings the world a little bit closer. You know, there's a certain pride in knowing that here in Texas, we're finally starting to abandon some of our old ways, and we're starting to welcome in traditions that, for many of us, were once unfamiliar and distant. It's a beautiful thing, really, to see a piece of Texas become part of the global tapestry. So here I am, not fully understanding all of it, but grateful to be here, to be part of something that bridges cultures and to bring light into the night and into the world. And in a way, Diwali in places like Texas is our own little celebration of change, of diversity, and the possibilities that come when we embrace the richness of a world far beyond our borders. I'm journalist Matt Pierce. If you've liked this content, please like, subscribe, comment, and share.